My dear children, how are you? I hope all of you are staying safe. First, let me introduce myself. I am Mrs. Tulasi Bai, retired mathematics teacher. I handled mathematics for classes 6th to 10th in CBSE board. I want to share my experience with you all. I think it will be helpful for you during this lockdown period. And my dear 10th class children, I am going to take the class for you only. I want to help you. I think I'll do my level best. I hope you will enjoy my class. First, let us start the chapter 1 in 10th class. That is the real numbers. The real numbers, chapter 1, real numbers. We have studied about real numbers in 9th standard, isn't it? Lower bit you have studied. All of you know what are real numbers. Anyway, let us have a small recap about real numbers. Then we'll move to the 10th standard portions. Okay? What are real numbers? All of you know that. What is? They include both rational numbers and irrational numbers. Rationals and irrational numbers. First, let us recall what are rational numbers. Rational numbers, they can be expressed in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q not equal to 0. What is P by Q? P by Q means it is in the fraction form and the denominator should not be equal to 0. Why? If the denominator is equal to 0, then it will not be a fraction. It has no meaning. Okay. So this is the condition for rational numbers. It is in the form of P by Q. P and Q are integers and Q not equal to 0. Okay. Now let us recall what are the rational numbers. You have studied about all the varieties of numbers in number system. They are natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, fractions, decimals, etc. Isn't it, children? What are natural numbers? They are counting numbers. That is, then if you want to count anything, you start from the number what? 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And all these natural numbers can be expressed in the form of rational numbers. 1, you can write it as 1 by 1 or 5 by 5, like that. In the same way, 2, 3, all the numbers can be expressed in the form of 3 by Q. So natural numbers are rational numbers. Now when you come to whole numbers, it includes only 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, it starts from 0. So they are whole numbers. And here again, you can express all the numbers as rational number. 0, you can write it as 0 by 1, 0 by 10, 0 by 100. Any number if you write it, the value will be the same. Now when you come to the integers, they include both positive and negative integers and 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative. Okay. And all the integers can be expressed in the form of P by Q. As usual, I have explained here. Now, when you take the fractions, all positive and negative fractions are rational numbers. The same way, when you take the decimal form of a rational number, that is very important what we are going to use this property in the 10th class portion. What is this? When you take the decimal representation of the rational number, all terminating decimals are rational numbers. Example, that means it will complete it is end 0.3, that's all. 0.5, that's all. 0.7, 0.8, like that you can have many terminating decimals. Now when you take the non-terminating next one, it may be terminating or non-terminating, repeating or recurring decimal. What's the meaning of non-terminating, repeating or recurring decimal? Let us recall that. What is it? It is 0.333333. When you represent a rational number in decimal form, that is one digit may be repeating or two digits may be repeating, 0.1313, like that. So this is called, it is not ending, and but some digit is repeating, some digits or digits are repeating. Isn't it, children? So this 0.333, you can express it in the form, that is in a short form you can write it as 0.3 bar. And this you can represent this, how many digits are repeating here? 1, 3. So you can write in the short form 0.13 bar. This is very important. Have you understood now? So all these together or rational numbers. So, have you understood? I think you may have recalled that. Now we'll move to the irrational numbers. Irrational number, we cannot express it in the form of P by Q. Okay? And they may be only the decimal representation. You can have that. That is, it is non-terminating and non-repeating decimal. Non-terminating means it is not ending and it is not repeating. Here some digits are repeating, but here now digits are repeating. There is no pattern. Here you have some pattern. 3, 3, 3, 3 like that. Here 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. But here see here 0.0120110032. Have you understood now? So this is just, we are just recalled about what are rational numbers and irrational numbers. These together form the real numbers. Okay. Now in 10th standard, we are going to study some important properties of positive integers. Okay, what are the important properties? First one is Euclid's division lemma. Next one, Euclid's division algorithm. Next one is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Okay, first let me explain what is Euclid's division lemma. Then we'll see what is division algorithm. Then at last we'll see fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So, I want to take you to the lower class where you have studied about the division. Already you have studied in lower class what are the four main operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Here we are going to deal with only the division. So, let us recall the division and the checking method of division. Then from that we will generalize the Euclid's division lemma. Okay children, come on, let us go there. So, in the division, suppose I have 5 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls. I am going to divide this into the groups containing equal number of balls. Okay, I am going to divide into some groups which contains equal number. That group should contain equal number of balls. So let me divide that. So I am getting what? So first group contains 2 balls. Second group again contains 2 balls. But in the third group, we don't have 2 balls. Only 1 ball is there. Okay. Now when you see how many complete groups are there, totally 2 complete groups and 1 is incomplete. So this is the remainder. And understood? This is the basic of division. I think all of you know. Even though let us have a small recap about that. Okay. Now here how many total balls? 5. The total balls are total number of balls is 5 and each group contains how many balls? 2 balls. How many complete we have number of groups? Is equal to 1, 2. And now see what is the how many balls are remaining? Incomplete group. Number of balls is equal to 1. Okay, now in this, now we have a special name for all these things. I think all of you know. Even then we'll just have a recap. What is the total number of balls called? Come on, say. Yes, very good. It's called as the dividend. Now each group contains how many balls? 2 balls. So this is called as the divisor. Now how many complete groups are there? 2. That is called as the quotient. And all of you know the remaining balls, that is called as the Remainder, yes, good. Okay, and now see here, this small b, let us have. Now, let us take the first letter of each word, capital B, small b, Q, R. Now let us move to the checking method of division. Let us have a recap. You have studied in lower class now. What is the checking method of division? Come on. Yeah, very good. Dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Have you recalled that? Yeah, dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Okay, so we have recalled what is division, what is the dividend, what is the divisor, what is the quotient, and what is the remainder, and what is the relation between these four terms, isn't it? Now we are going to generalize this. We are going to put this in words. Okay, so first let us replace this capital D as small a, the divisor as small b. Again the quotient and remainder will be the same. Okay, now before moving to the generalization, we'll see the important property of the remainder. Okay, so whenever you divide, let's have an example. Now we are going to divide 15 by 2. 2 goes how many times? 7 times. 7 2s are 14. 1 is the remainder, isn't it? Now in the same way, let us divide 16 by 2. 2 goes 8 times. 8 2s are 16. 0 is the remainder. Now when you divide the next number 17, what will be the remainder? 1. So like that, when you divide any number by 2, you will be getting the remainder as 0 or 1. Isn't it? If you get some other number, then your division is wrong. All of you know that. Okay. So that's the important property. That is the remainder. Now you just have the relation between the divisor and the remainder. Here 1, here 2. It is less than the divisor. Isn't it? Here, see here, it is equal to 0. Have you understood the relation between the divisor and the remainder? Or it may be 0, but it should be less than the divisor. That's the very important property of the remainder. Okay, now let us have another example. 18 divided by 3. 3 6 are 18. You are getting 0 as the remainder. Now 19. 6 are 18. 1 is the remainder. 20 divided by 3. 6 3s are 18. 2 is the remainder. So next 21, 0, isn't it? So in the same way, when you divide any number by 3, you are getting 0, 1, 2. These are the 3 possible remainders. Other than that, you won't get any number as the remainder. Okay. So from this, you are going to get a condition or the in a division question, the remainder should always be less than the divisor, or it may be equal to 0 or greater than 0, but less than the divisor. It lies between the 0, 0 and the divisor. Okay, it may be equal to 0, but it should be greater than 0 and less than the divisor. That's the important property. So what is the condition here? The remainder is greater than or equal to 0, but less than b, the divisor. Now this is the Euclid's division lemma. So we are going to generalize this. What is that? Euclid's division lemma. Given positive integers there exist unique integers. Q and R. Given positive integers A and B. There exist unique integers Q and R satisfying A is equal to BQ plus R, where R is greater than or equal to 0 but less than B. So these are the two conditions. Okay, and let us set given positive integers A and B, because for a division sum we need two numbers. So the positive numbers are A and B. As I told earlier, we are going to deal with only the positive integers in class 10. Okay. Now there exist unique integers. What is the meaning of unique integers? See, when you divide 15 by 2, you get 7 as the quotient and 1 as the remainder. Okay. And when you divide 16 by 2, you are getting this 8 as the quotient and 0 as the remainder. This is the possible. Whenever you divide 16 by 2, 8 is the only quotient and 0 is the one and only remainder. When you divide 15 by 2, 7 is the only quotient and 1 is the one and only remainder. Okay. So whenever you divide two numbers one by another, the quotient and remainder will remain the same. You won't get different remainder or different quotient. That means the division, you have done the division wrong. That is the meaning of unique integers. This Q and R unique for particular given integers. Okay. So have you understood? Given positive integers A and B, there exist unique integers Q and R satisfying A is equal to BQ plus R, where R is greater than or equal to 0 but less than B. Okay? Have you understood, children? Now what is lemma? Lemma is nothing but it's a proven statement which is used to prove other statements. It's already proved. Using that, see here division checking method. So we are proving. Using that we are going to prove other statements. Okay. So don't worry about the term lemma. Now, so it is nothing but what is Euclid's division lemma? It is the checking method what we have learned in the lower classes. That we are writing with, expressing it in a different form. There you written with words. Dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. But here we are just writing A is equal to BQ plus R. All of you know what is A and B. A and B are the given integers. And this Q and R, all of you know what is the quotient and remainder. That's all. So don't get confused. Don't get worried. What is lemma? It is nothing but the checking method of the division. A is equal to BQ plus R. Now using this Euclid's division lemma, we can have Euclid's division algorithm, and we are going to using this. We can find the HCF of given numbers as well as we can prove some important properties of the positive integers. Okay. Now that we'll see what is division algorithm and how to find the HCF of the given numbers and how to prove this important properties of the positive numbers by using this Euclid's division lemma in the next session. I hope all of you might have understood. We'll meet in the next session. Take care. Health is very important. Health is wealth. Okay. So first you take care of your health and you can start studying.